TV.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Out of the Fog. I'm your host, Laurabel, and today's episode we have a stellar lineup for you. I'm going to be joined by the one and only vegan chef, Marian White. Also get the chance to talk to Deputy Mayor Sheilagh O'Leary about an upcoming art exhibition. And we also get to climb things with Cove Bouldering. So sit back, relax, and we'll get right to it. Welcome back, everyone. I'm now joined by the one, the only. I was introduced to her as the vegan chef, Miss Marian Frances White. Marian, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, really a pleasure to be here.
So I'm so excited to have you here because I got to know about you from your daughter, Anna Harrio, who was also a guest here a few episodes ago. And when we were chatting, she was like, you have to meet my mom because she is so cool. And then we started talking about why you were so cool. And you absolutely are. So I guess for our viewers who are watching, I was introduced to you as the vegan chef. So how did you become the vegan chef?
Oh gosh, it really does go back quite a number of years now. In fact, the cookbook, Island Vegan, is a celebration of my 50 years now as a vegan in this province.
Wow. 50 years. Okay.
I know.
So not a day over 35, but yet you have 50 years of veganism.
Oh gosh. So we have to say, how did it all vegan?
Yes, please. How did it vegan?
I guess I was on a journey of self-discovery in terms of health. How do we, sustain health in our lives? And of course, this was pre the internet, but I did find a lot of books and various references in libraries even to this place in Boston where you could go and study to explore food as a pathway to health.
Okay.
So I went to Hippocrates Health Institute and spent several months there, which was a very unique opportunity, to say the least.
Okay, so what was unique about this place?
Well, typically, if you think in a kitchen, you're going to see a fridge and a stove and all kinds of knives and everything. But in this kitchen, there was no fridge and there was no stove. So that in itself was pretty different.
Yeah. So no fridge, no stove.
I know.
Okay.
It was trays of seeds being sprouted. So that you had broccoli sprouts and mung bean, alfalfa, you even sprouted lentils.
Okay.
So all the food, chickpeas were sprouted. So all these things that you ordinarily would cook, they were sprouting, and then maybe grinding it to make a paste or of course salads. Salads were everywhere.
Yes. Okay, and so you were at Apothecaries, and then how did we end up back home?
Well, I love Newfoundland, Labrador, and this is my home. I did travel extensively, both in France and in Jamaica, one of my favorite places, and actually it had a huge influence on me in terms of diet. And I cook a lot with coconut milk, which is one of the wonderful ingredients that you find in Jamaican cooking. And so a lot of what I have in Island Vegan is a combination of what I learned and studied in Boston, but also in my travels, French cooking as well as Jamaican cooking.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so that is so cool. So this book, Island Vegan, is a culmination of 50 years. So over 50 years, you've had some wonderful experiences. So
absolutely.
What would you say as you looked back and were creating this book, were one of the ones that stood out and be like, this is why I do what I do?
Yeah, well, I think that one, I go back to my mother's kitchen. I grew up in a huge family in small town, Carbonear, Newfoundland. And of course, you know, back then, your vegetables were your primary source of food, and the other fish and meat were more the savory things that went along with it. So I credit my mother for a lot of her love of vegetables and how they were grown around us, and then also made into soups and various roasts and stews and all those wonderful things that we have in our Newfoundland culinary tradition. But outside of that, in my travels, one of the things that I always loved was pâté.
Okay.
And of course, making a veggie pâté was quite a challenge. And I was lucky enough one year, this wonderful woman from Montreal came to St. John's and to teach French. And her name was Laurabel Desjardins, and she became a good friend of mine. And so I talked to her about how I'd love to spend some time perfecting a pâté.
Okay.
So that is one of my signature dishes. And her father was a French pâté maker.
Okay.
So she came by it honestly, and through her we used all these ingredients like Newfoundland traditional, like potato and onion, but then add other things to it, herbs, lots of thyme, savory, which is of course a very well used herb in this province, and then adding other things like sunflower seeds and nutritional yeast and flours that people maybe weren't so used to, like coconut flour and rice flour, and making a blend of these and then baking it to perfection, and then serving it either warm, you know, or on crackers as an hors d'oeuvre.
Okay, so I'm hungry right now. And so I got you for about 2 more minutes. So I have, we have the original Island Vegan Chef, but you have another one coming out.
I do. I often am working on things simultaneously, and this book is called In Her Glory. It's a celebration of my mother's life and my father's, but a focus on my mother, and it's a book of prose and poetry that will be published by Boulder Books in fall 2024. So I'm looking forward to that, and it's been a great experience to gather the last several years of my writing and to have it come out in book form.
So your daughter was absolutely right when she said my mom is the coolest. So I got 1 minute.
She's a very cool young woman, so for her to say that, that's a very nice feather for me to wear.
Honestly, I got 1 minute here before I have to let you go. If people want to find you, where are we looking for your books, for everything about the wonderful Marian White?
Well, I do have a website. It's www.marianfranciswhite.com. And of course, Boulder Books will be happy to have you contact them for orders for their books, and Breakwater Books, who did a wonderful job in publishing Island Vegan.
Marian, it's been an absolute pleasure. I could spend so much more time talking to you, finding out about the complexities of vegan chef life, but thank you for joining me today.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Thank you very much. Wonderful to be here.
And we'll be right back, everyone.
Your opinion matters, and we want to hear from you. Get in touch with us using our viewer feedback line, your direct connection to shaping the shows you love. It's easy. Just grab your phone, scan the QR code on your screen, and take our quick survey. Share your thoughts, and let's make your viewing experience even better.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm now joined by City of St. John's Deputy Mayor Sheilagh, but also artist and photographer. Sheilagh, thank you for joining me.
Oh my gosh, thanks for the invitation.
So I'm super glad to have you here because we're not talking about the cool stuff you do as Deputy Mayor. We're talking about the cool stuff you do as an artist and photographer. So let's get a little bit into that. You currently have a show at the Rooms. What is this about?
Okay, well, the title is called A Sea Change, and it was basically the culmination of the research that I did during my Master of Fine Arts program at Grenfell campus. I'm slated to graduate with my master's in May, and I'm just so excited about it because it's a long journey. I'm a lifelong learner, very curious, but I've been a practicing artist for over 30 years.
Oh my. Okay, so yeah, cooler than I would ever have guessed. I thought Deputy Mayor was the coolest thing you've done, but clearly it's not. When you put this show together, you said it's a culmination of what you've been doing in your Master of Fine Arts. What was, I guess, the story being told with this show?
Well, through the research, I didn't really know when I started my research what exactly the focus was going to be, but because, of course, it's centered on the West Coast with Grenfell campus, my parents, both of my parents are from the West Coast of the island, and my mom in particular was French Mi'kmaq. She's passed on now, but she was from Stephenville area. And when I was on campus and when I started to delve into the work, I really felt a strong urge to investigate my mother's lineage, her ancestry as a French Mi'kmaq woman, and her cultural erasure, certainly, and how that impacted her identity, and certainly how it impacts generations beyond.
Okay, so as you found this research and you pulled it out, how did you decide the medium in which you were going to use it to present to the world?
Right. Well, predominantly I've used analog black and white photography, so I'm a film photographer. I still work in the darkroom with all of that hands-on kind of stuff. And that's been the basis of much of my work over the past 30 years. But this was an opportunity to really explore, so I got into a new process called, a new to me process called cyanotypes. And cyanotypes render this really beautiful cobalt blue color. And it is iron-based instead of silver, like with black and white film. So it renders a completely different look. It's a printmaking process, and it was a great opportunity to explore this particular project.
Okay, so as you decided the pieces that would be part of this show, when you were picking them, were there any that you sat there and be like, Mom would love this?
Well, the whole thing, honestly, was an homage to my mother. Growing up in a time where it certainly was not acceptable, you know, people were hiding their lineage. They were trained to hide who they were, and of course, which is really, you know, a stain in our past, right? And so now, today, we are seeing so much activism around cultural diversity, accepting, you know, indigeneity, reconciliation, and so this, to me, was kind of a quiet reconciliation, a personal reconciliation for my mom, who is now passed on, who really wasn't able to come out into the world and address her actual identity until really late in her life. And so it's a kind of a letter of love to my mom, and certainly for future generations as well.
And so for people who are going to see this show, what do you hope they take away from it at the end?
I just hope that people, you know, really think about celebration of the multiple identities that we all have. One of the things that I really took away from this experience was, here I am, Deputy Mayor for the City of St. John's, but I'm also a photographer. I'm also a mother, I'm a feminist, I'm a social activist, I'm a swimmer. There's a multitude of things that make up who I am as a person, and I think it's the same for everybody. And we have a tendency to try to slot people into little boxes, and I think that that's a disservice, really, to who we are as human beings. And so it's a celebration of the multiplicity of our identities.
That is, knowing who you are, I think it's fantastic that you get to showcase that other people have that multiplicity to who they are as well. But I know there's something super cool about your show that's taking place on the 26th of April. What is that?
There's going to be a curatorial tour. So the curators at the rooms, who are just a phenomenal group of people, are going to do a tour of the shows, and certainly a sea change. And you can go to the room's website and check out all the details there about how you can sign up to do that. But the exhibition is going to be up until April 28th, and I would love for people to come out and have a look and see what they derive from the exhibit.
Okay, so I got you for about like 1 more minute. So I have one, I'm going to call it super hard-hitting question for you, okay?
Okay.
If you got to go back and you got to do this all over again, is there anything you wish you would have gotten to add to this, or anything you would add more of?
To the exhibition, you mean?
To your entire journey as an artist to curate the show.
You know what? It's interesting. As you start to age, you wonder about these things, and should I, could I? I would have liked to have gone to school, certainly stayed in school earlier on, but experiential for me, practice as an experiential artist and activist and politician now, certainly has led me to incredible places. So no, I don't want to have any regrets about things that I've done. I think it all makes the package that you see in front of you, and I'm looking forward to more.
So are you going to see more cobalt style work from you?
I love cyanotypes. I'll definitely be playing and experimenting more with that, but I have a number of different art projects that I'm pursuing right now as well. So art is a huge part of who I am, being an artist, being expressive, and obviously that comes out both in my political life as well as in my artwork. So no, you'll see lots more coming. I'm not done yet.
Sheilagh, you know I love you. I adore you as a person. I think you're so cool. And so I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come and chat with me.
I feel the same way. So thank you so much for having me here and to be able to share my story.
Can't wait to see you again.
Thanks so much.
And we'll be right back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. I'm now joined by two super cool individuals. I'm excited to introduce you to both Joel and Thatcher from Cove Bouldering. Friends, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So for a lot of people, like myself, when I first heard bouldering, I had no idea what someone was talking about. So I guess before we get into all the amazing things that go on at Cove Bouldering, can we get an explanation as to what bouldering is?
Totally. Bouldering is rock climbing.
Okay.
Rock climbing has a bunch of like different kind of styles. Some of them use ropes. Bouldering does not use ropes, so it goes a lot shorter because there's no safety rope, but you fall on like a gymnastic style flooring. So it's easy because you can do it by yourself. You don't need to do a bunch of lessons for safety. You can just kind of roll in, do a little bit of a lesson on how to fall, and then you're off to the races.
Okay. Okay, that sounds so cool. I'm really excited about this. Mm-hmm. Now, so what was the idea that brought Cove Bouldering into existence?
We've been climbing locally for a long time. I've been climbing since 2010. Got started up at Walnuts, the other rock climbing gym in town. And climbing is just such a fun and beautiful sport that anybody that tries it usually latches on and does it for a long time. It's also got a great local community. So me and Daniel, my co-owner, have been part of that community for a long time, and climbing's been growing. It's an Olympic sport now. So that's been really exciting. And with that growth, we felt the need for kind of more and some kind of different kinds of climbing. So we wanted to start a bouldering gym, a fun place for everybody to kind of come and hang out. And it's also a cafe too. So we have like a full cafe with all the good coffee. And it's a really social environment, really fun. And it was just a way for us to kind of grow our community and pay back into the sport that's given us so much.
For you, Thatcher, what made Cove Bouldering something that you wanted to be part of?
Well, Joel's business partner, Daniel, is my partner.
Okay.
So I also worked at Walnuts for a while, and when they were starting the Cove, I was like, this is so exciting, like new climbing in St. John's. I want to be a part of it. And my dad is also one of their investors, so like the whole family is kind of involved in it. So yeah.
You just had to at this point.
Yeah,
there was no way you could say no to this opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
So for you, what has been the coolest part of this whole venture?
I don't know.
All of it?
The coolest part, I think seeing the community grow has been really amazing. Like when we were at Walnuts, there was a full community. So it was like, okay, are there going to be new climbers? Are there not? And the community just grows and grows and grows and grows, and like new people are coming every single day, and our membership is just getting bigger and bigger. So seeing like new climbers on the wall pick up this sport and then really love it, and like it becomes their life, and they become a part of the community, and like this whole family is just growing. I think that has been amazing to watch in such a short amount of time too. Like since July, there's been like hundreds of new people who are climbing in St. John's.
Joel, what about for you? What has been the coolest part for you as the business owner too in this aspect?
You know, like we're both also climbers, so it's been great to have another new place to go climbing. St. John's has lots of great outdoor climbing too, which is awesome. There's been lots of cool parts. Yeah, seeing the community grow, having a new like family of staff, all that kind of stuff is fun. Maybe a particular thing that I didn't expect I'd like so much is that we took the coffee part of it really seriously. So our cafe, like Thatcher's our cafe manager, we brought in like really good coffee, and we're over caffeinated all the time. But our facility is set up in a really cool way where the cafe like looks at the climbing wall, and the climbing wall is beautiful. We got a team out of Quebec to come and build it. So it's just a cool environment to kind of like be hanging out in the cafe side, drinking some coffee and like chatting with your friends while watching people kind of like participate in the climbing as kind of the backdrop. So it's just a really cool environment, and that worked out really well, and that's been really rewarding.
So what age is bouldering for?
Oh, it's definitely for all ages. Bouldering specifically, like we find a lot of engagement in like 20 and 30 and 40 year olds more than anything else. Like, you know, it's kind of hard to pick up sport when you're like out of the high school age for a lot of people, and being active is always a challenge, but climbing is just so fun. It's like a gamified sport where you're solving these puzzles, and the puzzles are always changing. We're always changing the climbs that are on the wall. So we get a lot of people that either they don't have a lot of time to like kind of dive into something else, or they don't want to get into team activities, and climbing is just really, really, really fun way to kind of be social, but also to have your own thing.
Okay. And for you, Thatcher, as you've been on your climbing bouldering journey, did you think this is where you would find yourself?
No, probably not. Yeah, I started working at a climbing gym in 2017 as like a job when I was going through university. It was like a part-time thing. And then the more jobs that I did at the climbing gym, the more I loved working at a climbing gym. And yeah, I didn't expect to be working here, but I do love it.
Absolutely.
I should add that Thatcher's also going on several trips to like Yosemite this year and doing a lot of climbing abroad, so quite an accomplished climber.
Okay, so you're cooler than you give yourself credit for, Thatcher, is what Joel's trying to say.
Yeah, a really cool thing about climbing is that it is everywhere in the world. So if you're an indoor climber or an outdoor climber, or both, like you can go to new places and visit gyms, or you can go to new places and climb the rock out there. So most of the trips that I do are like climbing related. So it'll be going somewhere to climb outside, or if I'm like in a city, going to a different climbing gym to see like what their setting's like, what their community is like, what the vibe is like. And there's such a range of like gyms that you can visit.
And we see a lot of people coming here looking for the same things, climbing outdoors in Newfoundland, but also traveling to the Cove and checking out our wall when they're coming from other places that they found climbing.
That's okay, so cool. So clearly I have to go to the Cove now and try
Yes,
climbing.
definitely.
So I got you guys for about 1 more minute left. So for our viewers who are wondering and a little bit hesitant about if this is the right thing for them, what would you like to tell them to assuage those kind of feelings?
If you're thinking about climbing and you're not sure about it, maybe you're nervous because it seems kind of intimidating or difficult, those are just myths that need to be dispelled. Climbing can be easier than climbing a ladder. Some sets of stairs are harder than climbing the easiest climbs at the gym. So it's very approachable for new people, more than you might think. Like Daniel's mom is like a regular member at the gym, and she only started climbing when we opened, and she's in there telling us how many new climbs she's done like several times a week. So if you have any concerns about your like aptitude based on fitness or anything like that, just come give it a shot. Open your mind.
I want to thank you both for joining me. It's been super cool, and I guess I'll catch you at Cove Bouldering.
Sounds great. See you there.
All right, and we'll be right back, everyone.
Your opinion matters, and we want to hear from you. Get in touch with us using our viewer feedback line, your direct connection to shaping the shows you love. It's easy. Just grab your phone, scan the QR code on your screen, and take our quick survey. Share your thoughts, and let's make your viewing experience even better.
I want to give a very special thank you to all of you for tuning in, and to all my guests for joining me today. They have basically planned out a perfect day in our city. So you can start off by checking out Cove Bouldering for a little bit of a climbing adventure, and then you can take a sight at the rooms to check out Sheilagh O'Leary's exhibit, and end it off with cooking in a meal by the vegan chef, Marian. Thank you all for joining me today, and I can't wait to see you all again next time.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
We want to hear from you. Provide feedback on this show or find out how you can get involved. Call, email us, or scan the QR code to take our quick survey.
Here we are in Canada, where Canada's about to celebrate our talent, our people. This moment is changing your life forever.